Hey Julia, Daphne here. Thank you for explaining. You've already got 7, you need 7.5. Horrible. Poor you, that is really tough. So let's go with this. So what I'm looking for is obviously great development, no problems in the coherence, some sophisticated grammar. Your vocab's always lovely anyway. I really, most importantly, are looking for, have you totally read the question carefully? Some people who have been in prison become good citizens, and it's often argued that these are the best people. This word, best, is the most important word in this question. In order to score a high grade, you need to have understood this word or seen this word and committed to this. To what extent do you agree? Okay, some psychologists assert that the people who have, watch out, committed crimes but turned good citizens are the best people to persuade adolescents not to be a criminal. Watch out, not to be. Okay, the best, well done, you've got that, but how could you paraphrase that word? You've absolutely shown it, fantastic. The most suitable. As long as you've got this superlative idea, the most. There's a variety of adjectives that you could be using, but we want this idea of the most. Well done. Personally, I think it's a good idea, as what they say is based on their own experience, making it convincing and credible. Also, because other alternatives to educate youngsters not to commit crimes are not that efficient. Now, be careful here, because you can't prove that statement in this essay, but you can do hedging, this idea of academic hedging, which is these little words I suggest, like always, sometimes, frequently, usually. These little devices are hedging devices. They're very useful in high-level academic writing. To begin with, young people tend to accept other people's advice from their own experience. Other people's advice from their own experience. Careful, because that could be their own experience. Other people's advice when speaking from their own experience. Maybe we just need to add that for clarity. The former criminals are the ones who know the most about. So former criminals, not the, watch out on article, former, totally reformed criminals. So again, I want to get in this word, like the best. So totally reformed criminals are often, so the ones, so this little device here again, yeah, who know the most about consequences of committing crimes. They can tell youngsters about the danger in a criminal lifestyle and life in prison. Watch out on articles, like I'm picking up too many errors on this. It's so about the dangers in a criminal lifestyle, it would have to be, and life in prison. Life is in general, doesn't need an article. Making them realise that crime are not as fun as in thriller movies at all, and actually bring about loss of money, privacy and freedom. Great. In addition, most young people change their mind easily. Even if they sometimes might have the impotence to commit crimes, if they get to know the potential danger of living a criminal life, they would probably abide by the laws instead. Now, if they got to know, this is lovely, but watch out here. Second conditional, if they got to know about the potential dangers, they would probably step aside. You're showing some really super complex grammar in here, but absolutely get it right, Julia. Yeah, this would just have it aware in your mind, the absolute formation of these conditionals. Therefore, having okay, the best. Just say it. Keep on saying it, and the examiner's going to keep on ticking the box, because it's not any old. Yeah. The best reformed criminals, you might say, rather than any criminal, any newly released criminal. I am really pushing this because this is really important on scoring 7 for task achievement. Okay, so the more you can push this, if you see a kind of key word like this, the more you push it, the higher you're going to score. Although there's some other alternatives to lectures, like lectures by teachers, good, the efficiency of them, such as having a lecture from a teacher. Hang on. The inefficiency of them, you'd have to say. The efficiency is, yeah, they're amazing. Yeah? So you're saying, hang on. Yeah, you need inefficiency because you're saying here, by a criminal is fantastic. Here you're saying a lecture by a teacher. You've got to say it's not good. The inefficiency of them, you don't need that. Cannot be overestimated. So, alternatives. Yeah, exactly. So it's the inefficiency of these ones cannot be overestimated. This is largely because adolescents are not fond of authority. Instead, they usually tend to be rebellious. Exactly. For example, watch out. A study or just research with no article. Watch out. Based on data from an anonymous questionnaire showed that only 30% of high school students were willing, past tense here, because you've got showed, past tense. Moreover, with the content good, we cannot go, yeah, and reinforcing the idea that listening to real life experience would be more beneficial. Go back. Well, sorry, you know what I mean. Go back to this point. Loop this lovely paragraph back to that point up there. So, yes, you're going back to the criminals. Yep, back up to here. In conclusion, yeah, the best, okay? The most communicative, the most models, the most whatever, the best way. Since they're more likely to take advice from people who yes, really nice. Okay, it is a tricky essay on deliberately, and it's useful for hopefully to highlight these things for you to watch out for. You can do it, Julia. You've got to not make any mistakes on the grammar. Really, just see what I've highlighted on grammar. If you're starting in the past tense on your example, continue in the past tense. Check out that conditional. Check out articles. Really read a lot, because by reading a lot you will see what's happening. Okay, you're writing to your manager, so you know the person, good, that's fine. Report the problem, so it's a specific problem, so you do need the, because it's specific, of not having a parking lot which aroused concerns among employees. These days I receive complaints about the inconvenience, especially for pregnant women who, you could continue, who have to find a parking place that's 8 blocks away. Good. Yeah, so I connect that. I know it's a bit longer, but show a relative clause. It's a really serious problem, and as HR department, we have the responsibility to provide. Nice. It could be helpful for them, beneficial for them. I don't think you need that sentence because it's already long, yeah? So I'd go, solving this problem could help us to be more attractive to prospective employees. Additionally, when people come here for interview, there's not a parking area. So connect this together. So maybe they would have conditional there, a bad impression on the company. You have an impression of, not on, which would be undesirable. I definitely get this into, it's hypothetical. So it is a conditional structure. Therefore, we should address this problem urgently, maybe. There is now, some temporary space behind the building. I think it could be. So again, I'd use the more of the modal verbs suggestion to set up in the future we may. I mean, we will is definite, but we may, I don't know. But now we just need to try and use the spell and first. Yeah, I think you could cut some of this. What I'm worried about is the length here, because you're long, 180 max. That will get you your band 7 or more, you know. So write less, but make sure it's perfect, okay? So these modal verbs, just the subtlety in these are really, really important. Don't try not to use can and will. They're not very sophisticated and they're not very helpful. So just use these other lovely modal verbs which are much more subtle and more suggestive. Really, really good work. When is your exam? You're doing brilliantly. Keep me in touch, please. Well done.